Hi everybody, Monique Leslie here, Misfit Crafter, and today I am going to show you how to make my carnival frame. I made this to put my brother's picture in with his wife. So let's get started by showing a few supplies that you're going to be needing for the project. First off, we're going to need a frame. Any old frame will do. As you can see, this one's been kind of beat up, so I needed to remake it, and that's what inspired the project. It was falling apart, so I thought I should do something with that. Next, you're going to need some paper. So I use the Brutus Monroe Mixed Elements paper pad. Now, you're going to see mostly Brutus Monroe in this whole video. This paper pad has 18 papers and 6 mixed media elements such as canvas and some burlap pieces. We're also going to be using the Brutus Monroe Premium Chalk Ink pads and some water brushes, but you can also use just some plain old water and just some little paint brushes will work. You also will need just a paintbrush or two. Next, we'll be using some Brutus Monroe craft glue. It's all-purpose craft glue. Love this glue. This is perfect for foiling, and this is what we're going to actually be using this for. Another thing you're probably going to want is some Brutus Monroe Squeaky Clean stamp cleaner, or any kind of cleaner, or at least a couple of jars of water to help clean off your brushes right away if you're using the Brutus Monroe ink, because it tends to really stick on those brushes really quick and dries really fast. So you can see here I actually set up 2 jars. The one on the left has water with some Squeaky Clean sprayed in it, and you can see my brushes soaking in it, and on the right is just a plain jar of water to finish off the rinsing process, because if not, it gets really stuck on there. We're also going to be using the Brutus Monroe Liquid Elements and Penny, Gilded, and Sterling, and these are just some spray on color, and you can find all this on brutusmonroe.com. Links right there at the bottom. Next, we're also going to be using some foil. Right here, we're using some Heidi Swap foil. I used 3 different colors. I used gold, pink, and green for this video. I also used the brand new Xyron Creative Station Light. Love this new Creative Station Light. It's nice and compact, fits everywhere. You're also going to need some sandpaper. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do is, if you have a rough edge frame, just go ahead and give it a little sanding just to get the area prepped. Mine happened to be a little rough, so it really needed some sanding down. So right here you can see it all done. Just give it a little sanding on the edges and stuff just to make it smooth. This will help just get the frame ready, and you can go ahead and put that aside. You can wipe it off if you want with a little water so you can get the sanding parts off. So next, what I did was go ahead and get some paper of my choice. So it could be whatever choice you like, and use the Brutus Monroe ink pads just to smear across color off of all the pages. So just right across the page, grab your ink pad and just smear it right to the sides, and then you just want to cover the whole paper in different colors. So on this next frame, you're actually going to see the different colors that I used. First is C at the bottom. We have Stargazer next, Cabbage, and the one right at the top is going to be the Aubergine. Absolutely love this ink. You can see how much it just pops off of that page. So next, what I did was I went ahead and got the Gilded Liquid Elements and just sprayed that on the paper. This is just going to help blend in some of the color, but it also give it just a little bit of a unique look and a bit of shimmer, as you can see right here. So you see all that shimmer right there at the bottom on the blue, and just a few droplets of the Gilded in there. Next, I took my next color of my Liquid Elements and went ahead and sprayed that, and that one is Sterling. That just gives it a grayish silver look with a few more bits of sparkle in there. So it'll give you a lot of sparkle all over the sheet. It'll help get the surface also prepped for us to glue this onto our frame. You can see right here all the nice little drops of the 2 colors mixing together, and now you can see that the colors are getting quite a bit more blended on the page, just making it look really nice and vintagey for us. And last, I sprayed on some Penny. I love this color because it's a nice coppery orange color. So it gives it just a little more unique color to it. You can see already the colors are starting to tone down and get that great look. So what we want to do next is just go ahead and rip apart the pieces of paper, and you can rip it any way you want, and I wanted it so that I got some of that white showing, and then that way we can go ahead and just see a little bit more of the vintagey look. And what I did next was actually spray all those edges with the gilded liquid elements. So just to tone down all that stark bright whiteness, I added liquid elements to all the edges, as you can see here. And you can see it all over the mat. I also kind of rubbed it around the mat, all the pages, so that way the back got covered and the sides got covered really good. I know the back's not too important, but it helped me to lay out the pieces flat after that so that they weren't so curled up. It helps you just to get them nice and straight and ready. So we're going to go ahead and put those aside, and while those dry, we're going to finish some more prep on the frame. So with the frame, next what I did was I sprayed on some penny, some of the gilded, and just to give it a little more roughed up vintagey look so we can get that in there. So we're just going to go ahead and let that set aside to dry for a second. You can pat it down with a paper towel. So what I got next was I got some more Brutus Monroe ink, and we just swiped that across the top of the frame. Now you can either do this straight with the pad, or you can do it with a pouncer or a foam brush. The top of this was really smooth, so I was able to just do it with the pad without damaging my stamp pad any. But you can see it's taking color beautifully. You can see it all completed here. Great new color. So I mean, you saw the frame was completely green, so there's a little bit of green undertone still, but it's mostly blue now. So next what I did was I did take a foam brush for this next part because I wanted to do the sides of the frame. So I added just a little bit of the aubergine ink to my craft mat and just sprayed it down with a tiny bit of water, add a couple drops, and used a foam brush so that I could brush this onto the sides of my frame, because the sides of my frame were a bit rougher than the top. So right here you can see how well that's taking the color and how bright and pretty that is. So you just brush the sides on every once in a while, adding a little more ink to the brush because it does dry really quickly. The best thing I love about this ink is that it dries so fast. You can get your projects done really quick and you don't have to wait for all that drying time. So just finish off each side with another color of your choice. And then we're going to move on after painting all the sides up. We're going to go ahead and start prepping to add some of our foil. So you're going to want to get some of your glue. And we're just going to put a little on our craft mat, as you can see here. So I got the Brutus Monroe glue, just added a small little pile of glue on my craft mat. And you're just going to want a nice little thin brush so that you can add strokes onto the top of your frame. So just get a little brush, dab it off a little bit so you don't get too much on the paintbrush itself, so you don't overpower it with glue, because your foil will get stuck to whatever it is that you put on there and you don't want it to be soaking with glue. So just go ahead and brush it all over your frame, different little random strokes on the top of your frame, so just so we can get that prep. So let it dry for a couple of seconds, not completely, and then you're going to go ahead and take your foil and just lay it on top of there. So I just cut a little piece of the pink off on this one, and you're just going to go ahead and burnish it down. Now don't do it with like a credit card or anything, that type of burnishing. You're going to want to do it with your hands. You can do it with a brush, like a foam brush or roller. My fingers seem to work the best. This way I'm not scratching up the foil itself, but I'm getting in there nicely because there's still a little bit of texture to that frame, even though it's fairly smooth. And right here you can see that there's a couple of spots after we've taken it off. There's a couple of spots that still have some glue that's still kind of wet on there. So all I did was go ahead and put the foil right back onto it, rub it down again so we can go ahead and get that all over the frame. So we're going to do this to the entire frame. So you're just going to repeat the process, get your brush, add more strokes all over the frame, and reapply the foil to the rest of your frame. So right here you can see I'm just reapplying it. Push it down with your fingers, like I said, and just lift it off until you get the look that you like. So after this, I finally got the look that I liked, and I got some foil just all over the frame, you can see here. So just little brush strokes everywhere, because this is all going to show underneath all of our paper, because we're going to next glue on our paper. So what you're going to need, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to actually show the process of gluing it on, but you could use any decoupage glue, any watered down glue. You can use Mod Podge. What I have is like some homemade Mod Podge that I made myself, and I just glued on all of the pieces of paper. So I laid all of my paper out onto the frame so I could see what I liked, whatever order that you like. So just lay your paper on there, get it prepped so that you know where you're going to place it, and so you know that what pieces are going to fit and what pieces are not, and go ahead and glue it on. So right after I glued this on, let it dry for a sec, I just went ahead and added more foil. So you do the same process, but this time I added a few brush strokes on the top, and I added the green foil this time. I just used my my foam brush to burnish that down because it helped get into the grooves. Since now that there was paper on it, there's levels on there, so it helped get it into some of the grooves that were on there. Next, I just took some random stamps. I'm sorry to mention this before, just get some stamps, anything, but mine happened to be really great, perfect to match up with my paper. I just used some Brutus Monroe locomotive, and I stamped all over the frame with these stamps. Again, I'm sorry I forgot to grab the picture with that one. Next, we went ahead and used different colors. We just put some colors onto my craft mat. I used my water brushes for this to go ahead and paint in some of the features of those stamps that I stamped down. So right here, I'm just getting my water brush, squeezing out a little bit of water. This one of the Brutus Monroe inks that I just went ahead and added a couple drops of water to. I'm going to go ahead and paint in some of the things. And don't forget, you're going to want those 2 jars of water to make sure you get all of the ink off of your paintbrushes right away. As soon as you're done with the color, dip it in the one with the stamp cleaner and then go ahead and rinse it off with the water because it will stay. So I went ahead and colored in all of my little pieces that I also stamped some extra ones. So I stamped some extra pieces and I went ahead and fussy cut those out. So I have a few different ones that I fussy cut. So what I did next was I take some more glue, and with a small tiny paintbrush I added glue to my fussy cut out pieces of stamps that I did so that I can go ahead and add some foil to these elements. So right here I'm just adding glue to the different spokes of the wheel on the Ferris wheel here. And next you'll see me adding the foil to it. So you just press down the foil on there again, pull that right up, and you'll get some foil right over your stamps that you fussy cut out. And just to get a few fussy cut pieces, it doesn't have to be the whole thing, but just so you can add a little bit of pop to your frame. There's a few of them I doubled over. So right here you see me coloring in some of the stamps that were on the frame once I've stamped them in. So they're all over, just stamped them randomly on the frame, colored in some of the pieces, and some of the pieces I'm going to double up. So right here I took my fussy cut pieces and I went ahead and ran them through my Xyron so that I can create a sticker with them. Xyron saves me so much time on this because to try to get glue all over this is just a mess and just a pain. So it's really easy. You put them straight into the Xyron, you roll the little crank, pop them out of the other end, and it creates a sticker. Once you have them down, you're just going to want to rub that plastic because that plastic pulls off all the excess stickiness. So you're going to want to rub that down onto your newly created stickers. You're going to go ahead and peel off that film, and then your stickers are going to be ready to place down. So what I did next was go ahead and take these stickers and overlap them on some of the stamps that I had already stamped onto the frame. So you can see on the upper right hand corner, you can see the balloon where I actually placed that balloon stamp. I mean balloon sticker right on top of the balloon stamp on the frame. So it just gives it a little bit of height. Not terribly, but it's just a little bit of dimension. And right here I added the Ferris wheel. At the top you can see a couple fussy cut out lamps that I had also colored in. So I put those across the top of the frame. Oh, almost forgot my zebras on the bottom. He's too cute. I've just overlapped him as well. I also added just a little bit of ink to the edges of the sticker just to make it pop out just a little bit more. And I just use it straight on with the ink. Right here, all these fussy cut little lamps. I have these little lanterns that go along the top of the frame. I just popped them up with some pop dots. And I made sure I put a good amount so that if the frame ever gets touched, it's not going to like bend in. And when I pop up things, if it's going to get bent in, I used a lot more of pop-up dots or anything like that so that it doesn't cave in on you and then it just doesn't look like it's popped out at all. So I just put those across the top of the frame. And next I added in just a little strand of clear acrylic beads across the top so it makes it look like it's hanging with something. You also see me with the paintbrush right here. I just added a little more glue to the top of the edges, well actually all around the edges of the frame, small sections at a time so that I could add more foil. So now you can see that the edges are just a little more foiled, and basically that is your finished product. It's pretty easy, pretty quick, but looks absolutely fantastic. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you really liked it, don't forget to hit like and don't forget to subscribe